Hello YouTube, my name's Damon Lemaitre. Welcome to another review. This is more, well, I'll say it's a review, it's more of an update. Last August, so about 7 months ago, I made a video about my ERTL collection and showed you all of my models, most of them unboxed, but a few boxed. I also went to Elsbarton Steam Rally last year at the end of August and brought some more. The ones that I got here, they were all £5 each. However, I got a bit of discount because I bought a few of them, and so technically one of them worked out for free. So I got all the ones you can see in this picture here from Elsbarton. And I've got a few others here. I've got the Fat Controller and his Porter, and that model was actually made, if you look on the back of the box, in 1993, the year that I was actually born. I've also got Thomas and Caroline and Isabel and the express coaches. As you can see here, I've got 5 more now. I've got Thomas and Mr. Conductor. And if you look at that ERTL video that I mentioned, you'll probably notice I didn't have Mr. Conductor unboxed. So this is the first time I've actually got him boxed here. And none of the engines that I've got boxed so far have this Magic Railway packaging, so that's definitely something quite special. And that was made in 2001. You can see there, 2001. So I have yet another model of Thomas, but I've also got Mr. Conductor. And sometimes I know people say to me, you know, when I do buy my box ones, they say, do you actually want the figures or the trucks? But, you know, it's all part of the collection, so it's always definitely something worth having. The next one I've got is the soft side truck. And although it's not really a character, it's obviously one of the trucks in the background that you see many times in many different episodes. Thomas the Tank Engine. Comes with a description of the character and shows you all the other ones you can buy, and it comes with a collector card if you cut it off. I've also got the Fusit, the narrow gauge trucks, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but these only appeared in Series 4. They weren't ever seen again. And there's a fact file and everything else. Once again, it actually says that the trucks were actually kept more in the middle of the trains to avoid any explosions, because obviously it's gunpowder. But worryingly enough, in the first episode we ever saw these, it was right behind Duke. However, Duke is the tender engine, so I suppose it wasn't quite at the front entirely. And they're the only narrow gauge trucks that I've got. Now we actually move on to Smudger. That was made in 2002. And I wouldn't say Smudger was one of my favourites. He wasn't really much of a developed character, but he was one that I quite liked and would have loved to have seen more of. And obviously he was only in one episode. And he's the only narrow gauge engine box that I've got so far. I do have him unboxed as well. You can also, if you look very carefully, he has a little one of the leaflets that comes with it. And if I show you, you got this little leaflet here, and you've got a variety of different characters from around 2002 to when they discontinued the range 2004. You got a lot of these with the characters in the boxes. And I don't know about anyone else, but whenever I bought my ERTL ones, this was definitely the most popular one. So Thomas, Boko, Scar Louis, Donald, Toby, Duke, Harold, Mavis, Peter, Sam, Bertie, City of Truro, Falcon, Henry, Troublesome Trucks. And then on the back you've got Annie, Clarabelle, Douglas, Henrietta, Terence and Duck. Like I said, I got this one with most of the ERTL engines I brought. Obviously I didn't keep all the leaflets, but you only really need one. There's also a slightly different one here, with different characters on it. Edward, Toad, Bill, Bertram, Lady, Oliver, Diesel, Tar Wagons and Milk Truck, Stepney, Scruffy, the old coaches, Sir Handel, D199 Diesel, Duncan, and on the back you've got the crane, the fire engine, the Fat Controller's car, Derek, Ben and Daisy. Daisy's one of my favourite ones, and one that I'd definitely like to get boxed. And Ben, of course, obviously as you can see I've got Bill boxed. For some reason Derek looks a bit unusual and not 100% like what he should look like. I suppose the same can go for Oliver really. He's got black wheels for some reason, so not entirely realistic. But I definitely liked the little animation things that they did. And also Duncan's got black buffer beams, but you probably can't see it as well as I can. So not entirely realistic, but quite good. Like I said, the last one I got here was Bill. And obviously, so I don't have Ben boxed, but I've obviously got them both unboxed. And this model of Bill was made in 2001. As I say, Bill and Ben were my definitely one of my more favourite characters. And in some ways, I'd rather, if I had the choice, I'd rather have had Bill in this style packaging. I like this style of packaging most for some reason. I don't know why. Obviously, they had different types of packaging, but nevertheless, you know, a box turtle is still a box turtle model. I did actually see Bill in that style packaging quite a few months ago for sale at the market. However, he was £35, which I thought was a bit extortionate, and the box wasn't even in that great condition, so I decided it was best not to buy it. As I said, this little leaflet here that I've got, the slightly different one, I actually got when I went to the Northampton Lamport Railway. I got that with the NW brake van and Frank. However, so again, they're both similar, but I only kept just this one. And as you can see, I've got a few photos here of the Lamport Railway. There's me and my younger sister with Thomas at the Northampton Lamport Railway. There's me and my sister with the diesel. We're also there with Toad the brake van. And there's also one of me there with the Fat Controller. I was a lot smaller back then. And there's a photo of me in the garden. And you can see Bill, Ben, Thumper, and me with some of the Play and Learn magazines. I used to get them sent to me as a subscription. And you can also just about see I've got Thomas the Tank Engine, a cup which I used to enjoy milkshakes in. And you can see the top of Dry Or Station there. And I used to keep a few of my trains in there. But I now keep them in a nice chest of drawers, so they're not on top of one another, etc. So as I said, these are the new boxed turtle ones that I got. I intend to keep these ones boxed along with the other ones that you saw boxed. Like I said, I bought these off of eBay, and they were £21 originally for the lot and £3.90 postage. However, I paid £19 for these after making an offer. So I got £19 for £19, £3.90. Obviously, I said I got the other ones at Ellsbarton £5 each. So technically, this was sort of the same price but a bit cheaper. So quite a good deal. Yeah, and I hope to build up the collection as time goes on and keep any box turtles that I can. Obviously, now they're discontinued, unfortunately. And I still, to this day, think Turtle was definitely the best range to make the Thomas products. And so it'd be nice, and say, as characters like Daisy, Ben, Oliver being my middle name, a few other characters that I'd like to get boxed, but you know, it's a collection, it's a slow building thing. You know, I've got a lifetime ahead of me to hopefully buy some. But as things stand, that's all of the ones I've got today so far. So here we have a variety of different ERTL engines. with the old orange and red ERTL track. Some of you may have seen it, some of you may have not. But anyway, this is like, I've got enough to actually make a full circuit, but I've only just got a tiny bit here to show you. With this track, unfortunately, it's not suitable for all engines. So here, for example, we have Rusty, the diesel engine. And although he's a narrow gauge engine and different scale to the other engines here, apart from, of course, Jock, he's in ERTL, he's the same scale as the other engines. And Rusty runs well on the straight track and around the bends. So that's the bend. This bit here is a bend that he's going around. He runs around there, okay. But when he comes to the points here, he catches on the on that bit just there. You see, so he doesn't go right the way over the points, unfortunately, unless I sort of force him up. So unfortunately, again, not the best model. Whereas Harvey has bigger wheels. As you can see here, Harvey, and he runs a lot better. And it's not just Harvey, but engines like Percy, Stepney, Bill and Ben, they all run really well over the points and round the bends. So the red and orange track's okay for them and for coaches like Annie and Clarabelle. Whereas you've got Edward here, and he runs well. Again, though, he does catch on the points, but he runs okay on the straight bits. But unfortunately, I can't push him anymore round this bend without great force, because he's obviously a long engine. And unlike, say, the Wooden range and the Hornby range, the wheels don't curve round or anything. And he's just a long straight bit. He won't, unfortunately, go round. And you get that issues with engines like Henry, Gordon, James, and also Jock here, who I've used. Yes, again, you can see I can't get Jock round the bend here, unfortunately. But these engines, they actually fit on the track, whereas Lady here, if you look very carefully, only just about sits on top. If I zoom in, you'll be able to see the wheels aren't actually in between the rails, like, say, for example, Harvey. So Harvey's wheels are in between the rails, whereas Lady's just sitting on top. And then when it comes to the points here, as you can see, she's derailed, unfortunately. But I say she sits on top, whereas Fergus, the traction engine, he doesn't even fit on at all. So look, as you see, his wheels actually go over it, so Fergus doesn't fit on at all, unfortunately. So like I said, this red and orange track, it's good for some engines, but unfortunately not quite so good for others. While we're here as well, another ERTL product that I've actually got is a case just here with some second-hand ERTL engines. And although they're here in my house, they're not actually mine. They're for my nieces and nephews to play with whenever they come round. And you can see there's Bulgy, Oliver, Percy, Henry, Gordon, James, Bill and Ben, Mavis, and that's Godred at the back there. Yeah, so those are my nieces and nephews for whenever they come round. And a great aunt of mine bought those, and I saved them for them. But all my ERTL engines are in a box upstairs. Daisy, the diesel, is also another engine that's very trouble to get on the rails. Unfortunately, she's got really tiny wheels in the bar, and so she, again, a bit like Lady, she sits on top, but she's only sitting on top because of her bars, not because of her wheels. So again, the red and orange track isn't suitable for an engine like Daisy. And one thing I will say about Daisy, compared to a lot of engines, is that she is very, very low indeed, and also she doesn't come with a front coupling. But I do still like Daisy as a model, and I think it's a very realistic model. But I think, like Boko, the diesel engine, for example, she could do with bigger wheels, around the same size as Harvey's. As you can see here, I've got the grey track, and the grey track's a lot better because engines like Fergus come on it. I also like the fact you've got a nice turntable, and I've also got the quarry bit, which you can see. I've also got a level crossing. There's some of the gates missing, however I know they're safely packed away in the house somewhere. I've got some other bits of track here that I haven't included this time, and some signs. They came with the Play and Learn magazine on the left, and the one on the right was the last ever one I got, because I used to get them on subscription from 2001 to 2004. And I think the issues are certainly a lot better back then than they are now. Overall, I think the grey one's a lot better than the red and orange track. I collect a number of things, not just cars, but figures as well. And as you can see, some of them probably aren't as old as others, but eventually they will be quite old. I think if in the future, if I do have any grandchildren or children, it'd be nice to show them. And I think it's important to preserve anything, because if you don't preserve it, it's gone and lost forever. As things stand, I don't intend to sell them at the minute, but who knows in the future, maybe I will when I'm older.